And we were talking about the leader of the pack and shall I stay or shall I go? Our greatest hits today. Joining us now is Mark Penn, the great pollster. Mark, some of these new polls that just came out, the ones that I have all seen are showing Trump ahead. There was an Emerson poll that was a little closer, 46 to 43, but clearly he got a bump after the debate, and Biden got, no surprise, a drop.
Well, look, no question. In my poll, I saw Biden's job approval drop to 40 from 44, and I saw the percentage of people who thought that he's too old to serve another term go to 74%, from I think 63 or 64. So there's no question. And then my horse race was Trump plus 4. I think all these polls are showing when you look at them, really between 0 and 7, the average I think is somewhere around the plus 4. I don't think there's any question that, frankly, Trump was winning before the debate, which is why the Biden team thought the debate would be a brilliant idea. And it was a brilliant idea, but it was a brilliant idea for the Trump campaign.
What do you think is going to happen this week and next week, Mark Penn? I mean, it seems like obviously we were talking about even blowing in the wind. It's like, Schumer and Nadler and a whole bunch of others were like, oh, they're concerned, but now it's
yesterday
changed.
They all wanted him to step down.
But today
they said, oh, we're supporting the president.
A party divided cannot stand, right? So there's no question that you've got to go out, you've got to drop out now. When Biden said, I'm not dropping out, was not going anywhere, right? I think the president has won this fight because the Democrats realized it was impractical. They were not going to have some new primary. Harris was not necessarily going to be a better nominee. And besides, whether she was or wouldn't, the president was not going to go willingly. And what were they going to do? Invoke the 25th Amendment? That just wasn't happening.
Judge Weinberg.
And Mark, also the Emerson poll also pointed out that Biden did it better against Trump than Harris did against Trump. So she's not the savior for the party.
Well, look, Harris right now, if I look at it on favorable ratings, I think Trump is at 46. Biden is at 39, and I think Harris is at 38. How would Harris really do if she were the nominee? Who knows? Because you don't know. How would you ever have imagined Governor Hochul could win re-election for governor when she was an unknown lieutenant governor from upstate New York? So you don't really know what would happen. Or Hochul could have been a disaster, and Harris could be a disaster. I think they all decided that Biden is the disaster they know.
I think that's exactly right. That's well said.
What's going to happen with the media too, Mark? What do you think? Because the New York Times just came out and said Biden's embarrassing himself. So they're renewing their calls.
They doubled down.
They doubled down. And they were the first ones. Remember, yep. John, who came out and said, editorial board, they're saying he should resign. What do you see? How do you see even like in the press room, they're still wanting answers about, when did the Parkinson expert come in? When did they seem very skeptical of this White House?
I think the press is going to be tougher on the president. I think that they realized that there was a big story going on. It was right in front of them. And they were misled, and they're somewhat angry about it. And they're somewhat, they're kind of getting back into Woodward Bernstein mode a little bit.
Mark, but let me ask you, misled or didn't want to report on it? Because I've been in that press room many a time, and you can ask what you want. I mean, if you look at it, we all saw it wasn't to me such a surprise at the debate. Where were they all the months before?
Well, as I love to quote, these are not the droids you're looking for, meaning that of course they are, and of course it's right in front of you. And I think that it was sort of a combination. They bought the idea that this was all right-wing attacks and therefore they shouldn't touch it, and it couldn't be true. And at the same time, again,
are they
right
that stupid, Mark? Are they that stupid?
They are that mistrusting. That is, as a class, those journalists are so mistrusting of the right. Yeah. I mean, look, it was right in front of them, right? The president wasn't doing interviews. It's not, we used to send President Clinton down to the briefing room. President Trump used to just saunter down to the briefing room any day he felt like it. He wasn't doing interviews. He was doing only scripted speeches. It was obvious in front of them. And now they feel somewhat like fools, right? And so they're going to take it out not on themselves, but they're going to take it out, I think, a little bit more on the White House. I think you're going to see more aggressive reporting from here on in.
Craig Eaton?
Yeah, Mark, I'll tell you, I watched the interview with George Stephanopoulos the other night, and I was really surprised. I mean, I expected George to be throwing him softballs, and he was very hard on the president. I mean, he kept pointing the same question and asking the same question over and over again. I was impressed with that. I think you hit it right on the head. I think the press is now frustrated because his medical condition has gotten progressively worse each and every week. And it's going to hit a point where it's going to be a point of no return. And then what do we do as a country?
Well, I try to avoid being a doctor.
Yeah.
I have two daughters who are, so I don't really know what's going on. I think the judge, I think what you said about Stephanopoulos, I would say he threw medium balls. He was persistent. He pushed all the way down to, look, are you going to take a real test and make it public or not? To which the president said, not.
Yeah, right. He dodged and weaved.
Yeah. Well, he eventually got the answer that the president was not going to do that, and he kind of knew the president was going to say that. So that was an example of kind of tougher journalism. It's not like he said, well, we didn't really look as much as your health. Stephanopoulos didn't say, should we look a little bit more about what you said about your business dealings with your son? He didn't go there, right? He just, he stayed within the one lane and was a lot tougher. And that's kind of where it looks like the press is going.
Anything else you want to say to America?
Well, our poll came back last week and Americans, Americans are really feeling it about the economy. I am really surprised the extent to which neither campaign, and I think Trump is talking almost exclusively about immigration, but most people are just upset about inflation, the cost of living, the cost of food, the cost of housing, cost of gasoline. And I'm surprised that nobody has what we would have had with Clinton, a 4-point plan for how we're going to reduce living costs in America, because that is what really has people upset.
You're absolutely right. Mm-hmm. President Biden, he says he can take care of the poor, take care of the middle class. He made the poor poorer, double the price of gas, increased food by 30-40%, increased the price of buying a home. I mean, it's just a disaster.
And that's really what has, that is really what has the American voter upset, that the cost of middle-class life, which had been dropping for like 20 years, right, and really took a sharp upturn in all the basics.
Mark Penn, me and you were Democrats at one time. I think you're still a Democrat. Me and you were Democrats at one time. Has President Biden done anything right?
Well, I won't answer that. I will just say that. I will say that he started off right on Israel, and then he went seriously off course.
He started off wrong day number one by destroying the oil industry and doubling the price and tripling the price of gasoline.
And opening up the border by rescinding all of Trump's executive orders.
Mark Penn, we love you. And can we bring back Bill Clinton for a third term?
I wish we could.
I wish we could. Well, thank you so much, and we'll catch up with you again real soon, Mark.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Mark.
Hi, it's Lou Dobbs for Priority Gold, America's precious metals dealer. These are volatile times with high inflation, soaring debt, wars on multiple continents, and rising financial stress. Central banks are buying gold to diversify their reserves, so are many Americans. Call Priority Gold and find out how precious metals can help you diversify your portfolio. They're highly rated and happy to help. Call 1-866-303-6357 or get a free gold guide at PriorityGoldGuide.com. That's PriorityGoldGuide.com.